pleasant good evening once again. I'm John McAdams along with Bruce Craig. And Bruce, we're here at the Skatium in Havertown for the Dodge Flyers Cup. They're having the ceremonial drop of the puck. Good evening. Pleasure to be working with you again. It should be a barn burner here this evening. The Friars of Malvern Prep against the Panthers of William Tennent High School.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here. We've got a great crowd here tonight, and it's sort of exciting to be in this building when there is a crowd. Go ahead.
No question about it. I think the student bodies from both William Tennent, who are up in Warminster, Pennsylvania, they brought a goodly number down, and also Malvern Prep, who has very small enrollment, about 430, and I venture to say most of them are here this evening. We'll stand now for the playing of our national anthem. Once again, welcome back to the Skatium in Havertown, Pennsylvania. I'm John McAdams along with Bruce Craig. We're about to start the 11th Dodge Flyers Cup. And again, Bruce, let's kind of set the scene here for anybody. A high-powered scoring machine in William Tennent against a very good defensive but very young Malvern Prep team.
Yes, John, Malvern's goaltender is played super during the tournament, is protected by some strong defensemen. I think the shortcoming of Malvern tonight, and I hope it doesn't turn out this way, is that they play 9 or 10 players, and that's all that normally see the ice. Whereas Tennent has 13 seniors of a 15-man main roster that are going to play tonight. So I hope that fatigue doesn't take over.
All right, William Tennent now dressed in the black uniforms with the white numbers. Malvern Prep, on the other hand, has blue with the gray down the sides. And Malvern Prep will be moving from our right to our left as we begin the period. And our officials this evening, Steve Miller and Wayne Sands. Our standby official will be Kevin Thompson. And Bruce, of course, in your duties with Hockey Central, these are the two who have worked hardest all season long and deserve to be here to call the championship games.
They do, and these guys also do some ECAC games at the college level, so they're well prepared for this level of hockey.
All right, we're about set to go. Taking the draw for William Tennent will be their captain, Mike Lang, number 5. And it'll be Keith Grimley, who is just a sophomore, 16 years old, 18-goal scorer during the course of the season, but a great skater as Malvern wins the draw. It goes back to the point now to Mark Sakers. Sakers passing along the near side now to Ben Koya. Koya's pass up the center, goes off the boards on the far side. Puck 3 now, picked up by Tennent's Lance Laterre. Here's Laterre in over the line. Pass now back to Mike Lang. His shot goes wide of the goal. Rebound right out in front. Now sent out to the point to Jeff Grable. Grable can't hold it in. Puck sent down the right wing side into the corner on the near side, where it's picked up now by Paul Gregg. Right winger on this line, tries to get it back to the point. It's taken away, and here comes Malvern coming to center, but lost to Mike Lang, who takes it and throws it right back into the Malvern end of the ice, as Tennent seems to contend here to keep the pressure on early. 15-minute periods here in Flyers Cup. There'll be 3 of them. Comes back now to Lang. Lang at the top of the slot. His drive turned aside in there by Keith Haig. Haig dumps it out to center, and still Malvern has not been able to mount an offensive attack. Comes along the near boards, deep into the Tennent end. Picked up by Laterre. His pass ahead to center for Paul Gregg in over the Malvern line. Cuts to the near side to the far side. Now waits for some help as Malvern's on a line change. Picked up by Gregg on the far side. Gregg now loses there momentarily to John Bretnall. Bretnall tries to clear it out, tied up along the boards by both Terry McCabe and Lance Laterre, and finally it's cleared out to center ice, but Tennent bangs it right back into the Malvern zone. Picked up by the Friars now, Mark Sakers, who fires it down the length of the ice, and they're into the Tennent zone for the first time. Picked up by Mark Sakers, who throws it right through the slot, nobody there. Picked up by little Lance Laterre, all 5'6", 140 pounds of him. We'll be using his name quite a bit this evening. All right, the puck is dumped out to center where Joe Washko picks it up. He fires it back in over the William Tennent line, where goaltender Tim Palm winds it around the boards on the far side. Picked up there now by Josh Reedy. Reedy loses control, picked up by Laterre. Here's Laterre coming to center. Laterre passes to Lang, who's taken off the play. Comes right in front now to Gregg drive. First big one of the game, turned aside by Chris Dempsey, the goaltender of the Friars. All right, sent down the length of the ice, but once again, it's stopped there by Tim Collin, the goaltender of William Tennent. Both teams have now effected a line change. 12 minutes, 53 seconds remaining here, and thus far a scoreless first period. Picked up now by Mike Optenacker, who sends it in over the line on the near side. Picked up there by Jeff Grable. He clears, but not out. Kept in there by some good tenacious checking in there by the Malvern Prep Friars. Now stolen away and coming the other way is Laterre, backhander in on the goal, turned aside by Chris Dempsey. Turned around by Malvern Prep, and we have Joe Washko coming out, and our first penalty coming up as Laterre gets involved behind the net there with William Tennant's Mike Opendacker.
Here's a penalty, John, that shouldn't have happened. It's away from the play. It's just a little bit of nerves right now that are taking over, and Tennant is all over Malvern at this point. They're putting the puck in deep, and they're playing down low. We've had a couple 2-on-1s and 1-on-1s.
This will give Tennant a power play, and Tennant, a team that averages almost 9 goals per game during the regular season. Now that's going to be negated as Lance Laterre is going in as well, so there will be absolutely no degree in the loss of manpower. The teams will be playing even up a side. And we are scoreless. All right, from the draw, it's back to Washko, sends over near side to Mark Jakers. His drive is knocked down in there as Tennant tries to clear, but unable to do so. Keith Grimley holds it in. Here's Grimley from the right faceoff circle, walks right in front, shot turned aside in there by Tim Calm, and finally it's given a break and down the ice by Tennant, and forcing Sakers to go back and get it for the Malvern Prep Friars. Sakers turns it around on the far side, passing it now to the blue line. They look for Washko to break the center, comes back to Grimley. Here's Grimley in over the line, cuts to the near side of the ice. Grimley now along the left wing faceoff circle, gets it back to the point where Washko has it, uses the left wing boards to send it in deep for Keith Haig. Haig winds it along the boards on the far side now for Grimley. Grimley's taken down in there as now comes onto the skate of Haig, and Haig taken down this time by Mike Bernstein. Comes right in front, backhander score. And Malvern Prep picking up a power play goal, gets the first score of the game, and Malvern leads by a score of 1-0.
Malvern scores a power play goal. They've come into this game with Keith Grimley, Scott Haig, and Ben Coy as the top 3 scorers during the Dodge Flyers Cup. Malvern's needed 4 games to get to the final, whereas Tennant has won 3 and come in here without playing since last Monday night. Malvern on this scoreboard on a power play goal.
Time of that goal will be 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Here we go. Comes course of the season, including 49 goals. He's a dangerous man on the power play. Now it's broken up by Scott Haig. He sends it down the length of the ice and stopped in behind the goal there by Lance Laterre. He sends it along the near boards now for Paul Gregg. Now Gregg gives it right away, picked up in there by Keith Haig. His shot broken up in there by the William Tennant defense. Now cleared up to the line where it's picked up by Lang. Here's Lang cutting to the center of the ice. Cuts in over the Malvern line. Drop pass now for Paul Gregg. Now back to Lang, who's on his knees as he tries to clear, and does back to the point to Laterre. Laterre winds it around behind the Malvern goal. Picked up, throw right out in front of the Malvern goal, but cleared away by the Malvern defense. All right, picked up behind the net now, thrown out in front to Gregg. Gregg's shot knocked down. Gregg tries to pick up the rebound once again, throws it right out in front. Picked up by Lang, shot, score! Great play. As Mike Lang has tied this hockey game at 1, it'll be a power play goal. Time of the goal will be 6 minutes, and make that 5 minutes and 26 seconds. We're happy to bring you the game this evening on the Suburban Sports Network. All right, the play is on. Drive right in on the goal. Turned aside in there by goaltender Tim Kahn. Dumps it out to center ice where Malvern flips it high in the air off the stick of Keith Haig. Back into the Tennant end. Picked up by defenseman Mike Bernstein. Bernstein gives it right away to Keith Grimley. Right in front of Scott Haig. Score! A very bad turnover there by William Tennant has cost him a goal. Malvern forges ahead by a score of 2-1. That goal will come at 10:52.
This is a goal where Keith Haig is sitting in front of the net and the puck's turned over. He puts it by Tim Calm. William Tennant is a little bit down right now. The bench is a little bit quiet. The contrast is Malvern bench, which is all standing up. Puck thrown out in the front of the net. Malvern kicks it around a little bit. Scott Haig sitting on the goal line, steps out, right-handed shot, throws it past Tim Calm.
Play like that, the defenseman has to have a look before he throws it out. That really costs in a playoff game like this. You don't want it to happen. All right, 2-1. The Friars in front. Comes over the line as Lance Laterre is given a rough ride into the boards along the right wing corner. Now Petrangelo tries to hold it in, can't control. Now here comes Malvern Prep on the move again. John Gregg drive, he scores! as Malvern has gotten 2 quick goals here. And very surprisingly, the Friars in front here by a score of 3-1. Time of that goal will be 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Malvern has jumped in front here by a score of 3-1.
Here's Branthal breaking across the blue line. Sees Riddy breaking down the slot. A good pass. Sneaks under Tim Com's stick.
And the goal being scored by the junior forward Josh Riddy, his 10th goal of the season. It's now a 3-1 hockey game. Malvern in front. Power play here for the next 25 seconds. Into the Malvern end, where it's picked up by defenseman Mike Opendaker. He cleans it out to center ice, where it's picked up now by Haig. Here's Haig with a left wing pass now, where it's dumped in over the William Tennant line, picked up behind the net there by William Tennant's Mark Hewitt. Clears but not out, comes right behind the net, where it's picked up now by Scott Haig. Haig clears it out to the point now to Joe Washko, as the penalty box is now free. Both teams at even strength. Malvern leading 3-1. Comes back down to the point with drive in there by Washko. Scores! The rebound. It appeared to go off the skate. It looked like of Scott Haig. We'll have to check that replay to be sure. But the important thing is the arithmetic. Bruce Malvern now moves in front by 3 at 4-1.
This is after the power play had just ended, John, and the puck comes back to Washko at the point. The puck shot on the net, but the rebound off of Com, picked up by Grimley. Grimley's the leading scorer in the power in the Dodge Flyers Cup this year.
Comes into the near corner as Robert Freed now takes his man out of the play. Puck picked up by Washko, sent around on the far side to Ben Koya, who can't control. Now does ahead to Scott Haig. He's bumped off the play. Comes out to center, and we have a whistle for a stop at the last 10 or 12 minutes of this hockey game, as Malvern has scored 3 times to break a 1-1 tie to lead here by a score of 4-1. Puck comes out to the point now to Mark Sakers. Mark Sakers' shot is knocked down. Picks up now behind the net there by Terry McCabe. Tries to center it out in front. Cleared off and broken up the center ice. All the way back into the Malvern end, where it's picked up by Mike Opendaker once again. His pass along the left wing side to Josh Riddy. Riddy now loses control of the puck, and it goes back onto the stick now of Sakers. Here's Mark Sakers, the junior forward defenseman, coming to center. He flips it in over the Tennant line. Goes down the left wing boards, picked up there now by Mike Bernstein. Bernstein, who his brother Paul plays on the team for William Tennant, bumped off the play. Now comes out to Mike Lang. He's given a hard pump by Opendaker. And Malvern really is taking control of this game all of a sudden. Comes down to Lang. Here's Lang in over the line. Lang with 4 Malvern defenders around him, and stolen away and cleared out to center ice in there by Ben Koya. Comes onto the stick now of Mike Bernstein, who sends it in over the Malvern line. The Malvern right on it as Opendaker sends it out to center ice. Picked up now by Ben Koya. Here's Koya's pass to Scott Haig. Hagen over the William Tennant line. Goes down into the near corner behind the goal, where it's picked up by Greg. He's bumped off the play in there by Keith Grimley. And now Malvern taking to the body to the much bigger Tennant players. Drive from the point is kicked aside in there by Colm. Hits off the post, comes to Colm, and he clears it away. And Tennant's very lucky on that one. Comes right in front again now to Koya, shot score. Ben Koya has put Malvern in front by a score of 5-1. 4 minutes, 32 seconds. Time of the goal here in the second period.
Ben Koya picks up a pass when it comes out from behind the net. His teammate steps out across the goal line, sees him sitting out in front. And there's all sorts of rebounds and garbage to pick up. Coach Paul right now is calling a time. Here's the replay. The puck's in behind the net. We got Keith Haig back there, and Grimley, who makes the pass out. Koya picks up the rebound, and it's up over the glove hand of Tim Com. If you take a look, John, Malvern right now, the defensemen are their strength. They're walking out of with them playing so well. They're standing up the William Tennant defensemen. They're coming out of their zone. So was blown. Malvern had control of the puck. Right now, Joe Paul is mixing up his lines a little bit. He had Mike Lang on the ice with Riley and Brown for a little bit, and then he put Paul Gregg on that line to see if he can generate some offense.
Lance Laterre and Mark Hewitt man the points. 2 big shots. The draw now. They try to get it back to Hewitt at the right point, but it's broken up by Malvern. Sent down the length of the ice, and they'll force the Panthers to go back and set it up. Lance Laterre with the puck, sends it along the near side now to Paul Gregg. Here's Gregg skating to center. His pass for Jack Riley goes under Riley's stick. Picked up now by Joe Washko. Joe Washko winds it around, back out to center ice. A minute 35 left on the penalty. 9:15 left in the second period as Malvern leads by a score of 5-1. Jack Riley sends it over the Malvern line, picked up by Paul Gregg, throws it right in front, nobody there. Out to the point now to Mike Lang, throws it into the slot to Paul Gregg. His shot partially deflected, comes down to Jack Riley, backhanded, turned aside in there by goaltender Dempsey. And cleared out the center. Malvern seems to have the game really under control right now. The puck's bouncing right for them.
They're playing with an awful lot of confidence, and to get a goaltender and make a big save like that, like Chris Dempsey did with his right skate, really pumps them up and gives them added composure.
Now here's a giveaway. Here's Keith Haig, drive, he scores. Keith Haig, as Tennant has turned the puck over. Keith Haig came down that left wing side and drilled it in on goaltender Tim Cobb. And it is now a 6-1 lead. That is a short-handed goal.
Another extremely costly turnover deep in the Tennant zone, to the right of Tim Cobb. Scott Haig picked it up, let a blast go up high over his glove hand.
What a shot.
Just picked up, just caught that upper left-hand corner.
That's the last two that have gone over the left shoulder of Cobb. Maybe they found a soft chink in his armor.
Right now, Tennant's got to gain some composure. They got some guys that can bring this back in and get back into the game. They got plenty of time left. There's 23 minutes left in the game, so there's plenty of time to get back into this.
All right, they still got the power play. They still have fifth possible. This is a very key point in the game for Tennant.
Joe Paul right now has an interesting strategy. During that first part of that 5-on-3, he had a man up high. He was hanging, trying to get the breakaway.
All right, comes back to Opendaker, gets it on the far side, and Malvern staying very calm here. They know they've got a lot of time to work with on this two-man advantage. Comes to Opendaker now on the far side now to Grimley. His drive, Nick, that Sakers in on the goal, is gloved in there by Tim Cobb. We have a stoppage of play. Now we have Chris.
Once again, we got players facing each other in front of the net. Sort of the frustration's running a little bit high in the Tennant part.
That was Scott Haig for Malvern and Dana Chris for Tennant, nothing more of it. 3:46 left here in the second period. Comes back to Opendaker. Big drive from the point. Turned aside in there by Chris Stick, but covered up in there by goaltender Tim Cobb. And we'll have a stoppage now with 3:40 left in the second period. There's a minute 54 remaining in the two-man advantage. And the player who would due to come out of the box first, Mike Hewitt, will not be able to come out of the penalty box until we have the stoppage, because they'll still be two men short. All right, comes back now off the draw onto the stick now of Chris. He tries to clear it, but not out. Now Pietrangelo. Now we have a hand pass.
We're down to one man short.
Now we're down to one man short now.
Malvern is winning the faceoffs clean on this power play and controlling the puck. They're using their defensemen an awful lot. What I don't see is their forwards crashing the net when the puck's back on the point. It's 5-on-4 now. They've won all the faceoffs on this power play clean. Very important in the defensive zone for Tennant to gain control of the puck.
3 minutes 31 seconds left in the middle period. The Friars of Malvern leading by a score of 6-1 in this Dodge Flyers Cup from the Skatium in Havertown, Pennsylvania. High play in the corner now, controlled in there by Haig. Here's Haig trying to throw it right out in front. Comes out to the point now. Big drive in there by Sakers. He scores!
I think that puck went in clean off Mark Sakers' shot. I don't think anybody touched it in front of the net. But really, another power play goal for Malvern. A minute and 27 left on the 5-on-4 advantage.
And that makes it, more importantly, 7-1, as Malvern has come out here with a vengeance in the second period. They have scored 4 unanswered goals to take a 7-1 lead.
I didn't expect a game with a score this widespread. I thought Malvern really struggled last week against Bonner in the 3-2 win to earn a berth in this championship, but they've come out flying and they've gotten some good breaks and some good bounces.
Here's something else, too, that during the course of the regular season and the Flyers Cup playoffs, that goaltender Chris Dempsey's only allowed 30 goals during the course of the season. He's going to be tough now with a 7-1 lead.
Yes, he is.
Point man has stepped over the blue line, thus the face-off coming outside the blue line on the near side. All right, with the puck now, comes down to Grimley. Grimley shot right front, rebound, score! As Scott Haig picks up his second goal of the evening, as the puck lay in the crease behind goaltender Tim Calm, and Malvern has upped the ante to 8-1.
Once again, Koya picks up the puck to the right of Tim Calm. Sees Grimley all alone in front of the net. The defenseman from William Tennant was sitting back on the doorstep. Grimley got a clean shot, rebound stuck behind Tim Calm, and Haig jumped on the rebound.
What a night for Scott Haig. He now has 2 goals and 4 assists, and now ups the ante to 8-1, 13 minutes remaining. The goal mouth wide of the net. Sakers winds in, big shot turned aside in there by Kahn. 2 men short once again of William Tennant, something that they've had a number of times during this game. Back out to Opendaker in front now to Haig, shot score! That's Keith Haig with his second goal of the game. Make that his 3rd goal of the game, the hat trick from Keith Haig.
John, I think Mark Opendaker saw Mark Sakers hit the winger sitting off to the right of the net. I think it was Keith Grimley again. There it is. Opendaker hits Grimley to the left of the net, and it's up and in. Calm is down on his belly, out of the play. Looks like the goal's been called back.
Yep, they waved it off. They say the man was in the crease, so the score will remain 8-1. They will have the face-off outside the blue line to goaltender Tim Calm's right in front of the William Tennant bench and right in front of our Suburban Sports Network tower here as play is on. Comes back now to Opendaker. He sends it in over the line. Right in front now is Scott Haig. His shot. Now the red light doesn't go on. We'll have to assume it's a goal there. We never saw the red light go on.
You had mentioned earlier that the 2 Haigs will be leaving Malvern this year. Well, they combined to score the 9th goal. It was Haig from Haig on a great play, and he put a real nice forehand move on Tim Kahn and slid it along the ice into the open corner.
We're going to see that again. Here we go. Haig to Haig, exactly, and throwing it in there with the goal is Scott Haig, and Scott Haig now makes it 9-1.
The result from a player being 3 or 4 feet from the boards, getting hit from behind, being out of control, and smucking his neck on the boards.
Both of Tennant's goals this evening on the power play. Malvern also has a pair of power play goals and also a shorthanded goal as they lead here by a score of 9-2.
We talked earlier, John, and I just want to clear something up. We talked about the goaltenders union, and we joked about the sunburn on the neck of the goaltending. I feel for Coach Joe Paul as well as goaltender Tim Calm. Right now, Tim Calm is out there, and he's out there for the full 45 minutes, has nowhere to hide, is a little bit down on himself, but very few of the goals ring a tribute to him. Joe Paul, I feel from a coaching standpoint, he's doing everything that he can to motivate his players. Unfortunately, at times, nothing works.
Now Lance Laterre, the fine little player for Joe Paul, has down 7 goals. It's very easy to pack it in.
He'll coach right through the game, and I'm sure when they go in the locker room after the game, he's going to coach again. There's an awful lot of respect that he's going to offer these players when they go in.
Comes right in front to Scott Haig, and drive past Tim Calm, and Malvern now has jumped into double figures with their 10th goal of the game. They now lead by a score of 10-2, and these Haig brothers have been scoring machines here. And with the one Scott Haig Keith Haig graduating.
Off the face-off here, goes into the corner. Keith Grimley goes and picks it up and spots Haig out in front. 2 players around him, nobody picking him up.
25 games. They've had a great season for William Tennant, take nothing away from them. They went into this game 22-2-1, not losing a game since the 8th of February, winning 11 in a row. And even though they kind of lose one here this evening, big time, you can't take it away. They've had a great season, have the Panthers. Here's Sakers in over the line on the far side. First Sakers goes to front. Koya back in and he scores. Ben Koya with a goal, and Malvern has just blown this game wide open. And as we said, probably since midway through the first period, Bruce. When the puck is bouncing your way, it bounces your way.
Boy, these guys look like Wayne Gretzky out there. The puck, with his perception, here's Sakers comes across the line, sees Coy on the far side, and takes Tim Tom out of the net.
Picked up deep in the pennant end by Jeff Grable. Comes out to center now by Oppendocker. Oppendocker sends it back in over the line once again with 5 seconds left. Now we have it knocked down by the high stick of Thompson. Comes out to center ice. The buzzer sounds.
That last 5 minutes, John, gave Bob Martin an awful lot of time to give his players that haven't seen the ice some very valuable experience, which will be the future of Malvern hockey.
And you can see on your screen there that the Friars of Malvern, a very excited group as they're all in a pile down in the corner on the far side, congratulating their players. While in front of us, a very dejected William Tennant team goes out to console not only relief goaltender Brian Gagliana, but also Tim Com and Joe Paul, not looking like a happy man, which you wouldn't expect, but again, a great season for William Tennant. They finished the season 22-3-1, and that's not too bad way to end the season. Of course, you like to, your last game, you always like to end with a W, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen for William Tennant. Now along the glass on the far side, the Malvern Prep supporters out here giving some high five to their players who leap along the glass there.
Some of the glory of this is going to have to wait till next week, John. Malvern Prep right now is on Easter spring vacation until next Monday, so they got a trip to Pittsburgh this week to play in the Pittsburgh Civic Center against Meadville in the state championship, and they'll have to wait till next Monday to enjoy this.
A couple of the players up on the glass now getting congratulations from their fellow students, and in just a moment we're going to get an opportunity, Bruce, to have a look at the award ceremonies. The announcement of the Bauer All-Tournament Team, the Best Defenseman Award, and they're setting up the table out there at center ice, and we'll cover that. And now the two teams will come to center. One of the marvelous traditions of hockey, Bruce, where the teams have been battling hammer and thong for 45 seconds, or 45 minutes, are now out there shaking hands, and a great spirit of sportsmanship.
There's equal respect on both sides. And while we were looking, the camera was on the Malvern team at one end. You can see the closeness that we talked about earlier of the William Tennant players. They've lived together since September or October as a team. This past week has been pretty close as they've got even closer, being together every night. And there's a camaraderie developed in sports that gets these players together at school, away from school, at the rink, and away from the rink. And some great friendships have developed that'll last for years and years, and not only amongst the players, but amongst their parents and their families. And it's on both ends of the ice, and we see the good side, Malvern winning. On the other end, you have to give due credit to William Tennant, who had a great season. As you said, you don't want to end on a losing note, but one team has to win and one team has to lose, and William Tennant played right down to the end, the last 3 minutes. They had 4 or 5 good opportunities, good shots on net. I thought they scored one with about 1 minute and 22 seconds left, and the puck came out from behind the net. It wouldn't have done any good to the scoreboard, but it certainly would have made things a little easier.
Let's go across the ice now, where you can see in your picture